to a special edition of Santa Barbara Talks with Josh Molina. I'm here today with Teddy Cabugos, and we are at this incredible setting, the Sunstone Winery. And I'm so looking forward to talking to you because we talk so much about local news and we interact and our paths cross, and you have so much going on, but you have something really major going on, and I want to give you an opportunity to talk about your Sunstone Spritz cannabis beverages, which I've heard already a lot of buzz, in the community about it. So Teddy, first off, how are you doing today? And tell us about your new unveiling of this incredible product.
First off, thanks so much, Josh. I'm very excited to be on your show. I've watched all your shows and what you do for our local community and bringing the news. So it's really exciting to have you here. And so jump right into the, Sunstone Spritz. It's something that's very, very exciting because it's been envisioned now for a really, really long time, and it's finally all kind of come together, I think, at the right time. And what it is it's a cannabis sparkling beverage. Think like a LaCroix, a little bit more flavor with 5 milligrams of THC. And so obviously no alcohol, nothing like that. Some people kind of get confused when, so it's of course non-alcoholic, but sparkling beverage, flavored, coming in 4 delicious flavors. And we are using kind of a different type of THC product that we are putting in it. And we're putting it into a rosin form process, which is just a different type of extraction. And it's actually the healthiest way you can possibly consume cannabis. It's not going through a volatile or butane chemical extraction. It's a ice water extraction. So it really ties into everything that we currently do at Sunstone, as far as being the first organic vineyard in Santa Barbara County and still holding that to all that farming today, and doing those same things with our cannabis products. So we source all products in Santa Barbara County. We're very, very focused and proud of Santa Barbara for being I'm a little biased, but it's true. One of the best climates in the world you can possibly cultivate cannabis. And so it's extremely exciting. I think the world needs to know about it. And so with this new beverage, we're already in the beverage market. It's a little bit different way to consume. I am a supporter of things, all cannabis, flower, vaping, whatever it is, but it is a different way to consume it through a beverage. You're not smoking, and so I think over time there's going to be a real big future for the cannabis beverage sector as the industry begins to unfold.
That's amazing. It's such a new industry. Like, we've seen the explosion of the cannabis industry itself in recent years, and now we have this new product. Can you talk a little bit about what does it taste like? What is it? How does it feel? Because we know that people experience cannabis in a whole bunch of different ways. Right. So is this like drinking a beer? Is it like drinking a glass of wine? Is it like drinking a LaCroix and then you feel a little something a few minutes later? Help me understand, for somebody who's thinking, I'm gonna want to try that.
Right, and that's a great point, because we decided to go with a lower milligram, 5 milligram THC to kind of test the waters, and to, if you drink one of them, you're not going to have a overpowering experience. And the other thing about the beverage, it's a 12 ounce, it's a 12 ounce beverage, 5 grams of THC, or 5 milligrams THC, I'm sorry. And think about how long it takes to take that. So if you're eating a gummy, which most gummies are about 10 milligrams, you eat it takes about 2 seconds. The experience, gummies, again, that's great. We're trying to create a different experience. So over time, you're actually consuming those 5 milligrams, and you're really, and also with the beverage sectors, you feel it a lot quicker than you do gummies. You'll feel this within 7 to 12 minutes. And so instead of a traditional gummy, which will take anywhere from 40 minutes to an hour for some people to actually feel it. And so that will really give you a good sense of, oh wow, I can do more, let me go to 10 milligrams. And so also it's kind of like microdosing, how I see it. It's like, if it takes me 10 minutes to drink a beverage and consume 5 milligrams, and and then I go into maybe going into another 5 over the course of the next 10 or 20, 30 minutes. And so it's just a different way and a different experience. And just like you said, how it makes you feel, it's hard to always put it like, hey, how is this going to make you feel? Cannabis, just like you said, makes people feel different in all different ways. This is an absolutely uplifting, great, the experience, we've held many, many tasting parties, and it's got nothing but great reviews. And there's been people that said it's made them focus a lot more. They go home and clean their house, and there's some that was very relaxed and took away their anxiety. People have been calling and just like, hey, when are these coming out? So there's a lot of positives. And again, we're using the top product you can possibly get out of the plant. The top colas from the plant right into an ice water extraction. So you're not getting, trim, distillate, or anything like that. It's really, really the highest quality cannabis is going into each beverage.
Yeah, it's all interesting to me because I have to admit I'm not a cannabis person. I'm not a cannabis user. It's fascinating to learn because what we're seeing is a way to allow people, maybe such as myself, to feel a little more comfortable with entering sort of that space without doing sort of the traditional stereotypes of, hiding to, do something out of the way of somebody. This is like a really classy way of consuming it. But I want to ask you, Teddy.
That's a great point. If I could just chime in really quickly, because you hit it on the head, and it's like, that's why coming out with a product like this and a beverage, it's like, there's a whole new audience of non-cannabis consumers that may just, they think, hey, smoking a joint. I'll never ever convince somebody that hasn't been a smoker, hey, try this because of whatever brand is on there, or try smoking this, or try smoking this vape pen. But if I say, hey, take a sip of this, tell me what you feel, because one drink will do nothing to you. And then they're like, oh, wait a minute, I actually like this. Yeah. I'm gonna drink the whole thing. Oh my gosh, this actually made me feel wonderful, and you didn't even know it. And I think there's a lot of those people out there. I know just for doing kind of tasting parties and getting opinions from non-cannabis users, that is the truth. And so we look forward to trying to capture that audience as well.
Yeah. We're at Sunstone, and it's a beautiful setting in the San Ynez Valley. What is the intersection between the actual cannabis and your winery? Is there cannabis cultivation on this site, or how does that work?
Yeah, there's no current cannabis cultivation. We're taking it, very, very slowly as far as cultivating here. That's why we decided to come out with the beverage first, just because we can go and kind of like we do with some of, we grow a lot of our estate grapes, but we also buy grapes from other neighboring vineyards and then produce it all here. So kind of the same model where we can go, again, Santa Barbara County, it grows some of the best cannabis in the world. So we can go right to our neighbor and say, hey, can we use some for our product, and not have to do it actually on the Sunstone property. And so we are permitted to do it here. We are permitted for 6.5 acres. When we start that, we don't know. It won't be this year. Potentially we'll start next year. But again, as the industry evolves and as our company and brand continue to go up, then we'll plant here. But as far as right now, it's so convenient for us to go to local farms, and also in this struggling industry be able to support local farmers by taking product off of their hands for them.
Great. Now, where do you get these cannabis Spritz Sunstone beverages? Can you get them at a store, a grocery store? Is it only through Sunstone? But I don't. When I'm in the store, I don't see these types of beverages. So where can you get them?
Right. Well, it's very hard to get any cannabis products. You can really only get them in the retail store, dispensary, or delivery service model. Okay. And so that's the model that we're setting up, is direct to consumer. Just like our wine brand, we're direct to consumer for every single bottle we sell. We're not do any distribution or wholesale for any of our wines. We're going to do the same thing with our cannabis products. And so with the delivery service, there's a lot of different ways we even talk, pickup parties where you can go to, you can have a party at someone's house, have the delivery driver set up and everybody places their orders. We're setting up a cannabis club membership to where a delivery driver will be able to drop off on certain times of the month, and really just setting it up. It's not going to be the most convenient way, but for how the law is today, we're using that delivery service model to be able to sign up members and they basically get it to them that way.
And you're unique in this space. There's no other winery that's doing what you're doing. Is that correct? Here in the San Ynez Valley?
No, there's no other winery that is currently doing what we're doing and coming out with, a cannabis product underneath the same brand. But yeah, and so it's interesting to be the first. I think that wineries have an incredible opportunity to do this. I think it just makes sense. They have some of the most beautiful properties in the world, not just the San Ynez Valley, and so as tourism and education in cannabis start to rise, which we'll see here over the next couple of years, it would be a shame if some of the wineries didn't do it, because they have so much to offer. They have it literally transition in these crops. Wine and grapes and cannabis, they're so compatible. They really are compatible crops. And if you can market it the same way and you're doing your branding the same way, you can really, really have a very successful business, just as, taking it one step further than just wine. And I think over time, we will see wineries begin to do that.
We first sort of intersected and crossed paths when I was writing about your Fungus Zone project and your rooftop, tasting room, and that incredible project that finally got some approval there. But lately, you recently received approval from a panel for your new dispensary on State Street. And I was wondering if you could talk to me a little bit about that. What was interesting to me is we read about all these controversies having to do with approvals of dispensaries and locations, and your dispensary seemed to be like the shining model for how to get approved. It didn't seem like there was much conflicts surrounding it. So tell me about what's going to be opening up soon and what people can expect there.
Yeah, well, we're extremely excited. Our team won, and my partner John Price, who's the owner of it, we won the Eastern Goleta dispensary license for Santa Barbara County. And so we went through that whole process, and then after just putting all the plans together, finally went and got our approvals at Planning Commission, which was awesome. And I think just, again, when you looked at all of it, I think if you go back of why there wasn't a lot of controversy, we kind of picked a neighborhood or picked a part where we knew that wasn't going to exist. Otherwise, we wouldn't even have gone for it. And so that was really the main reason why we went for what we believe is just an incredible location. It ties into everything we're doing here at Sunstone, especially when you're going to be able to get it. And that's really what makes the Sunstone Cannabis a vertically integrated company at that time when that opens, because our customers, we can do curbside pickups from there, all kinds of different things from our cannabis club, our cannabis memberships, and it really will coincide from all of the customers that come from the South, which is 75 to 80% of the visitors here come from Santa Barbara, LA, Orange County, San Diego. So they'll be literally passing that market every single time they come to Sunstone and leave it. So it's very, very exciting. It's the first of its kind. We really, really plan on supporting, or highlighting Santa Barbara cultivators, the climate here, educating the customers. Like when you go to a wine line, if you go into a dispensary and you see maps of Santa Barbara County, certain farms and certain places, and somebody's buying a drink, and I can be like 30 minutes over that hill is where the product that was grown is in that. Yeah. And nobody can really say that. It's like if you go to a dispensary and you go pick up any product, any product they have in there, go grab a some gummies or a drink in there and say, all right, it says 5 milligrams of THC or 10. Can you trace back where those milligrams come from? Can you tell me where the farm is? Can you tell me what their practices are? Can you educate me a little bit on where the stuff that is inside of this bag or inside of this jar or inside of this can is from? And that's what we'll be able to do. And that's something that's very exciting, something that's never been done. And as a brand that already does that, it really transitions very well for us.
2 questions. What's the timeline on that dispensary opening? Because you just received sort of architectural approval, I guess, and as we know, these things take a while. But when, let's start there. When are we going to see that?
You know, I ask that question all the time. I'm like, John, because he's just and so if you ask someone else, they'll say a year. If you ask John, he'll say 9 months, 8 months. So I think right around that timing, between 9 months and a year from now, you'll see that place open. I know we will be working on some, awesome thing is we got an incredible grandfathered in sign. So working on the signage that'll go up and say coming soon. So people will know what's coming in there. And there's nobody better that can take a property that looks one way and make it look beautiful, fit right into the community, make it a positive business than someone like, John Price and, the Price family. So it's very, very exciting to work with him and them on this, especially because he's really going in, and all the surrounding businesses that support is just something that was really special, again, through the whole process. I think that made a big difference.
Yeah, definitely.
We went business to business, all surrounding businesses, so many surrounding neighbors in the community, and so we really reached out to everybody, walked them through the project, and really was like, hey, is this a good location? Let's look at it. Does this work? And we really felt like the model works, and we got a lot of support for even before moving in. So we were like, let's give this a shot.
Great. And so we know that eventually when it opens, your cannabis spritz beverages will be available there. When can people get this beverage, through Sunstone directly through the path that you sort of outlined earlier? Is that today? Is that coming up next month? Or when is that?
We go into production and canning on March 6th.
Okay.
So, and I know that we set the date because we're actually going to go down there and do some filming so we can get the content for our first beverages being filled.
Okay.
So the week of March 6th, that week I think they're going to try to do 2 flavors that day, and then a flavor Tuesday, and then a flavor Wednesday, and then so it'll be done that week, and so the following week they'll be ready, and there'll be a lot of buzz and stuff to talk about at that time. Yeah, looking forward to some big launch parties, some big tasting parties, huge private events, and stuff like that.
And real quickly, just to go back to that, I know we had a conversation sort of offline when we were talking about this ahead of time about the time it went to tasting. Like you tasted, you sampled, you're really focused on making it a good tasting beverage, not just, hey, this has THC in it. So can you talk a little bit about what went into, this also has to taste good.
Absolutely. I mean, so many people from our team helped. We sat there for the better part of a year, getting everybody's opinions. Let's bring a lot of people in. What should we change about this? Is this a little too sweet? Maybe make it a little bit sweeter. Then we went and what we would think, hey, we got good flavors. Let's go see if we can do like a private tasting at somebody's house. They invite 50 people over. We go set it up. What do you think? We started to get a lot of feedback and started developing it. And so taste really matters because no one's going to taste or drink anything that doesn't taste good. This is a social beverage and a social product that I think is going to be at every party, beach parties, pool parties, lake, everywhere that you see people drinking beers or drinking anything, you will see people drinking these as well. And so, taste is a huge deal for us. You can also mix it with anything and it tastes great too. That's the thing. It's like, I love it over ice, put like some pineapple, strawberries, and blueberries in it, and you're gonna be like, telling me you're gonna be drinking some, Josh.
I'll keep it. I don't know, I might be one of these people staring at it. No, this sounds like an incredible product, an incredible way to sort of educate people about what we're learning now is getting over this sort of bias that people have had historically over cannabis, and saying this is just another way to enjoy it, just like having your beer, your glass of wine.
Exactly.
So I want to ask you a couple questions about you, because
Sure.
if I could just, talk a little bit without embarrassing you too much, is, our paths cross, and I meet a lot of people in my job as a journalist, and I meet a lot of business owners and developers, and, sometimes people are very self-absorbed, they're focused on them, and they're very driven, but you don't have a chemistry with them, nothing clicks, a lot of the people I meet. And then sometimes you meet someone like yourself, who is just full of this positive energy, somebody who's really happy, and somebody who's very engaging, and it's not really all about you. I mean, every time we've had a conversation, you're asking me about me, my job, my kids, you're very engaged, and that quality is something that I really appreciate, and I'm just sort of hoping you can kind of talk a little bit about your upbringing and how you sort of became the person you are. You seem like a very family-oriented person. I know your family is very prominent in Santa Barbara, and so can you talk to me a little bit about how do we get, you're so positive, right?
Thanks, Josh. I really appreciate that. I mean, it's easy to make me blush to give me a compliment, but no, I really appreciate that. And so born and raised Santa Barbara, have a beautiful wife and two beautiful children, 5 years old and 2 years old. So that's getting fun. Sports are starting, but I went to local schools, and the community's always just been so important to me. And I grew up here. Most of my family either works for the city or has worked for the city, and so most of them know people, and so I've just always grown up to that's why I love Santa Barbara so much. I love the community, and so to be able to even be in a position to either give back or make people feel a certain way is extremely special to me, and that's why it's a dream to create such, memorable experiences for people. There's nothing I love more than, again, I like bussing tables on Saturdays and getting to know people, and when they're telling you just how much of a great time, or they're taking photos with their friends and their families, or they're posting on their Instagram. It's just such a great feeling that you're part of a team that can create something that makes people feel so good. So it's, I've always kind of just been like that. In every job that I've been in, I think it's the main thing is treat everybody the same, treat everybody well. I get along with the janitor at the valet guy more than the CEO. I relate to them more. I'm not your typical. I blend in with the people that are bussing tables and taking out the trash. I believe, if I'm ever going to ask anybody to do anything, I'll do anything that I ever ask anybody. I think that's something, especially coming in here, I wanted to show immediately that I was willing to do any job. I'm not, and something I'm really proud of, the team got me a trophy for Christmas, and it says world's #1 busboy. And so, but it meant so much because they see that I'm willing to do that, and they know, because that's the joke, is oh, Teddy's the busboy here, because that's what I do. And so anyway, I know I jumped off, but again.
Did you go to Santa Barbara High?
San Marcos.
San Marcos, okay. And so what was your first job out of high school? Did you go to college? Did you go get a job working, locally, or what did you do?
I worked at Brophy Brothers. I was working for Brophy's for a long time. Actually, I worked at Bebop Burgers when that was on Lower State Street, where Rusty's is now. Remember Bebop Burgers?
Yeah.
I was actually the Bebop DJ when I was a sophomore in high school. I did all the kids' parties. I learned all the oldies. Yeah, it's crazy.
That's totally see you doing that.
Yeah. and then I worked at Moby Dick. For Al and Mike Barayo, who now works for the city. Then I worked at Brophy's, and then from there worked at We the People. My buddy, who I graduated with, his parents owned it, and then they opened up 30 corporate offices in New York City, and I moved to New York. And I think
You
that's
went
what
from Santa Barbara to New York.
Santa Barbara to New York with a
It's a
group
culture
of friends
shock,
here,
right?
culture shock. I mean, you go from being so comfortable in this town, having all your family, really being, able to pick up the phone and go to your mom's house, your uncle's house, and if you never leave Santa Barbara, it can be so comfortable, right? And so I was really just wanting to, and when I hit New York City, I was like, you're not in Kansas anymore, Toto, and you better grow up. And that's really where I think a lot of different goals and ambitions for me really factored in. And I really saw hey, there's so much out in this world that, an opportunity, you need to work hard to go and go and find it. And so I was out in New York with a group of friends from Santa Barbara, all working for We the People, the legal document service. There's 30 corporate offices around the Brooklyn, Bronx, Queens, Staten Island, and Manhattan. And I was traveling all the different offices. It was nuts. They sold the company while I was there, moved back, and right then, my buddy was starting an entertainment company with an older producer named Barry Levine, and then I went down and worked for a company called Radical Studios for almost 8 years. And so, where we took comic books, graphic novels, adapted them into films. We worked on a project, Hercules, which we did a 5-issue miniseries, graphic novel, second 5-issue miniseries, second graphic novel, went and sold it to Paramount MGM, then starring The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. That was our first big hit, and then a couple other big ones, but
And are you doing contracts? Are you doing this artwork, design, or?
So we did the story. So we did the story. We hired the company that I worked for, hired the writers, working with writers. I mean, Stephen Moore, who did Hercules, he's a writer in England, and so he would do the scripts. Scripts get translated to the artist. Artist brings back like a page. The page gets into the book. Interesting model. It was each book that the company wanted to do was the idea of it being a film, video game, merchandise, all that type of stuff. So it's really cool. I've never done it again. In my life, I had no idea what I was doing. I told my buddy, hire me, I'll work 6 months for free, earn a spot, which I did. And so went down there for 8 years. A lot of the relationships, and actually the only reason why I really here at Sunstone is because of the relationships that I made in that industry from people around the world, and it's all now being incorporated back in. So there's some special things as far as entertainment stuff and this brand is concerned. We had a lot of fun times. I went to Comic-Con every year from 2006 to 2019, and then COVID obviously hit the following year, and I went last year. But our company we did huge booths, Comic-Con booths, huge signings for writers, directors, artists. In 1 year, 2009, I like to say, we threw the biggest party in Comic-Con history. So we had Gene Simmons come down. He was one of Barry's best friends. And so Barry was a rock photographer in his past career. And so he followed Kiss and Motley Crue and all that. And so he would actually bring me to Gene's house all the time. I was like his assistant. Gene started to like me, and so he had 30 bodyguards around Gene at Comic-Con, and he would put his shoulders like, Teddy, let's go to the table. And he'd take me to the signing. I'm like 27 years old, like, man, this is Gene Simmons. It was pretty cool. So a lot of things, and then so we had 50 hotel rooms that year at the Hard Rock. And that was where we threw this concert. Every celebrity's trying to break into our park. It's insane because they want to see Kiss play, and so it's another past career that gets incorporated today. And again, I think your whole life and everything is based on relationships, and that portion of my life, there were some strong ones created that really catapulted into where I'm at today.
Yeah, and everything I hear, the thread of everything you do and have done is hard work. You seem like somebody who, no matter what setting you're in, you're going to work so hard that you're going to have a successful outcome, no matter whether it's New York or locally or Sunstone or LA. And that seems to shine through in what you're doing here at Sunstone. You talk about relationships. How did you meet your wife? Because one of the other things I like talking to you about is kids. And you're in this stage of life where you have 2 young kids, and this is the best time of life because they're young, and you're doing all these fun things with them. You're doing the AYSO thing, and
T-Balls started yesterday.
And you're just sort of seeing yourself and your kids, and you're thinking, wow, this is what life was meant to be. This is so perfect.
But yeah, no, I met her in 2009 at a mutual friend's birthday in Venice. and we're both from Santa Barbara. I'm just, I'm 6 years older. So at that time, when I graduated high school, she was still young, and I was gone. I was just like, and so I never met her growing up. And then she was a senior at UCLA when we met, and so she was living in LA, and so was I. And so we met at a mutual friend's birthday, and of course, caught my eye pretty much the first instant that I saw her. And so, and we actually didn't start dating for a year later. We became friends more, and so it was a really...
She had to test you. Yeah.
She did. I had to test her too. I had to test her too, So
and
goes both ways.
What is her name again?
Jamila.
Jamila.
Yeah, her name's Jamila, and so... And we have, 2 beautiful kids together now. We were married in 2016, and now I have 2 beautiful kids, a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old.
That's great. Yeah, that's fantastic. Wait, so you have that glow when you talk about your family and kids and wife, and so that's just something that's really special. And now you're, as a Sunstone owner and partner, it's like you just got this perfect sort of moment here that you're involved with. I want to sort of kind of wrap up and just kind of bring it back to Sunstone.
Sure.
There's a lot of wineries in the San Ynez Valley. There's a lot of options. You walk into any store and there's a bazillion wines to get. And obviously the setting is amazing if you're looking to wine taste or be a member or hold events here, weddings. Netflix has been out here and done shows. But can you just kind of just talk about why Sunstone and why Sunstone is some place that people should check out among all the options they have?
Yeah, no, there are a lot of options. Actually, as far as where you can go and buy wine, since we don't do any distribution, that's why we made it. You can really only buy it here. We actually just made it. They're now at Point Markets in Santa Barbara.
John Price.
Yeah, there will be their exclusive Sunstone wine locations at some Point Markets that we just got, and so we're really excited about that. But other than that, Sunstone, that's the only place to get it. And so since people are going to come out here, that's why we're just so focused on the experience. We're focused on, you come here, little lively, put some music on, have a great time. I wasn't a huge wine fan or wine person. I wasn't at all. And so when I came out, I was like, how could we build, or how can we do something that would have someone like me have fun here? How could someone like me, who's not a wine drinker, and let's do this. And then now we feel like we've created an experience that kind of differs from everybody else. And so I think that is, a reason. Obviously, our winemaker, Brittany Rice, and our production team are just on the next level. We've gotten, over, I think, 90 plus ratings in the last 3 calendar years. And Brittany and her team are just, they're talk about the backbone of the company, and that really, or the people that are in the production, they don't get the credit, nor, at all what they really deserve. And, you see a bottle of wine, you see people tasting, to see the hard work that went into what they did, harvesting at midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m. for months on end, pressing, and it's just, they are really, I just really would love to highlight them, but yeah, and so they make extraordinary wines, and we wanted to create a perfect setting for people to want to come. We've opened it up to, large groups, bring, have your birthday here, have a party here, bring, your wedding reception, or your bridal shower, or your baby shower, or whatever it may be, with family friendly, dog friendly, or pet friendly, sorry. I've seen people bring a cat in, or a rabbit, a little kid brought in. So and again, and we're always open to trying new things, creating new experiences. Some things will work, some things won't, and that's what I think is that we really just tried to, haven't been scared to say, hey, let's just try this, and a lot of the times it has worked. And so we again go out of our way every single week to think about the guest experience.
Great. Well, Teddy, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk and share about your new product coming out, your dispensary, and this incredible setting. And I'm just real happy for you this time in your life and everything that you're involved with. And so I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Josh.
All right.
Really appreciate it.